Hi guys, Miss Linda's back. It's been a while since Miss Linda has done a story for you guys, so I have a new one today. For my friends that aren't in the classroom, it's a new one. Friends that are joining us that have been in the classroom, you may have heard the story before, but this is one of Miss Linda's favorites. But before I can show it to you, we have to do our song first. I want everybody to get their fingers ready, and we're going to do our book time rules song so you remember that it's time for listening and hearing the story. So, ready? Eyes are watching, ears are listening, voices quiet, bodies calm. This is how we listen. This is how we listen at book time. At book time. So, remember, when we get a book, we always check out the front that has the picture and the words to tell us about the book. And this book, the author or the person that writes the words is Alan, wow, this is a hard name, Zweibel. Can you guys say that? Zweibel? He has a hard name. And if you look at the pictures, it shows we've been learning a lot about trees, and it's a big tree. And see, there's some kids sitting underneath it and a dog, and it's called Our Tree Named Steve. So they named their tree. Miss Linda's never had a tree that had a name on it, have you? Let's see what this book is about. I think you guys will like this one. It says, a note on the tree. It says, "Dear kids, a long time ago when you were little, Mom and I took you to where we wanted to build a house for us to live. But in order to build there, men had to come and clear the land." So that means they had to cut down all the trees to make a space for their house to go. I remember there was one tree, however, and there were three of you that couldn't stop staring at it. So they're all looking at this. What do you notice about that tree? So here's a regular tree. Is this tree bigger or smaller? Yeah, it's a lot bigger. So they're checking it out. Adam thought it was crying. Lindsay said it looked nervous. And Sari, who was only 2 years old, couldn't pronounce the word tree, so she called it Steve. So that's how Steve got his name. That little girl couldn't say tree, so she called him Steve. "I love you, Steve," she kept saying, and then Adam and Lindsay started saying it too. And before long, Mom and I got the hint, and we asked the builder, that's the person that's going to build their house, to not cut down Steve. So they cut down the other trees to make room for the house, but they left that nice big tree that they named Steve and that they liked a lot. The day we moved in, Steve was right outside our house to greet us. So when they look out the window, they could see him. He quickly worked his way into our lives as a rope holder. So when the kids were playing jump rope, they hooked it to Steve, so he was kind of helping them. And whenever our dryer broke down, you held all of our clothes and underwear with pride. So they have rope on the tree again, and they're hanging their clothes out to dry. Some people do that. Instead of using a dryer in their house, they put it outside and let the wind dry it. Yes, right there in the center of our yard, this weird-looking tree grew to become the center of our outdoor life. Through all our barbecues and campouts, so they have a tent under it, and they have pretty lights under it, and dance parties. So they did a lot of things around Steve using Steve. So he gave them protection with the tent under it, and he held the lights for them. Or when Adam and Lindsay started getting crushes on the Simon kids next door, Steve adjusted to our every need. So did you guys notice that their leaves are turning colors and they're starting to fall on the ground? They're sitting with them, and they have branches like we've talked about on the trees before, the dogs. So, oh, and look at this. That's special. They used the rope on the swing and made a swing for the kids. So they did a lot of things with Steve. Here they picked up all his leaves that were falling off. Do you guys remember not long ago our trees were turning color? And what happened now? Yeah, a lot of our trees are bare because what's coming? This winter. And it wasn't always easy. Standing tall through snowstorms in the winter, Steve was out there. Look at all the snow built up on him and on his branches. His leaves are all gone and he's out in the cold. Or when Uncle Chester napped in the hammock, so they hooked up a hammock as a special chair on a rope, and you hang it from a tree and you can lay down in it. Oh, not to mention that time the sewer overflowed and Steve sucked up all the smelly water. So outside here, their toilet, the water all backed up and came outside in their yard and flooded it. And Steve, the tree, because his roots are down there, sucked up all that smelly, stinky water. I hope Steve's okay. Oh, poor Steve. Look at the colors on him. He got sick. He was so sick that we had to call the tree doctor to come and give him a haircut. Do you guys remember we learned about, in one of our groups, we learned about the tree doctor? They're called the arborist. This is an arborist, and here's his tools. He has a saw, so they said he had to cut off all the branches that were dying because Steve was sick from sucking up the yucky water. So he came to make Steve healthy, just like your doctor helps you guys to be healthy. Through the years, Mom and I have tried to show you, in a world filled with strangers, that the peace that comes with having things that you can count on and a safe place to return to after a hard day or a long trip. So they're taking pictures and they feel safe. They're comfortable. They've been around Steve for a long time, so that's where they go when they're outside, is they hang out by Steve. Which brings me to the point of this letter. So somebody was writing the book, the author wrote this letter. Last week, a storm came and hit by our house. And although we spared Steve's life a long time ago when they built their house, they said to leave Steve. This time, we couldn't save him. What happened to Steve? Yeah, he fell down. There was a big storm with a lot of wind and lightning and rain, and Steve got knocked down. Oh, I wonder how they're feeling. Are we sad? We sure are. But even in his final moments, when he could have fallen on our house, Sary's swing, or the doghouse, or even our mom's garden, Steve performed his last trick and protected all of us to the very end. He fell the other way and he didn't land on their house. So look, they had to cut Steve down, the rest of him, and the dog is checking out where he was. Aww. So when you come home from Grandma's next week, Steve will not be there to greet you as he's done in the past. I'm so sorry. So look, the dog's kind of hanging out up there on him. But please know that Steve will always be with us in our hearts and in our thoughts. And in a different tree at the other end of our yard. See you next week. Love, Dad. So even though Steve had fallen and he was gone now, look, here's where Steve was. They found another tree to have fun in, and they built a tree house. Let me hold it up close so you can see it. They built a tree house. So they were sad to see Steve go, but there were other trees. So that was a pretty cool story. I'm kind of sad that Steve wasn't there anymore. How about you guys? Do you guys have a special tree or a place out in your yard that you guys like to go and hang out and play? We'll have to talk about that when we do our Zoom. But Miss Linda had fun reading that to you. I hope you guys made it through the whole story and we can talk about it, okay? So I'll see you guys all on your Zooms and on your group Zooms. You guys have a very good week. Bye now.